Let's just have a look at a couple of clips from this Marae show. I'm only going to do two. The first one is talking about the government says the changes will improve the voting process. So sort of what we've just been talking about. You've got academic Emmy Rākete there, and of course our very own Tania Waikato to talk about this with Miriama Kamo.
So as we know, the Electoral Amendment Bill had its first reading this week in Parliament. Some of the key changes include closing the enrolment 13 days before election day, creating a new offence that prohibits the provision of free food and drink within 100 metres of a voting place, and a total ban on prisoner voting. So the government, Tania, says these changes will improve the voting process. What's your key concern?
Well, my key concern is that there are potentially hundreds of thousands of people that will be prevented from voting at the next election because of these changes. And the Attorney General's report into this legislation confirms that that is a possibility, and that this type of legislation doesn't need to go that far in order to achieve what it is aiming to achieve. So there are some real concerns here around one of the most basic fundamental democratic rights, which is the right to vote, being taken away from a number of people. And what we also know is that Maori will be disproportionately affected by this, as well as people who are in vulnerable living situations. So for the government to come out and say that this is about efficiency, this is about essentially one extra week of counting votes compared to taking away one of the most fundamental democratic rights we have, I think it's voter suppression. Just blatantly.
The government, of course, says we're not taking away anything. We're just making sure that people will...
Well, that's false, because they're taking away the right to register on election day. So even if you're trying to say, but they now can, you are definitely taking something away, because that is no longer going to exist. You have removed that it would be a takeaway. Mr. Bishop and Mr. Luxon and Mr. Goldsmith, I think, who might be in charge of this whole dog shit thing.
Oh, and I mean, is that not a valid concern, Emmy?
I mean, it doesn't seem like it, right? Why there's no case, no one is yet to be able to argue like why this needs to be done. There was no enormous problem being caused by having to count special votes last time. No horrible logistical problems caused by people signing out to vote on the day.
So the minister says, well, it was 3 weeks. We had to wait 3 weeks. It was 2 weeks, but in the election beforehand, then 3 weeks in the last election. We just don't want to have that anymore.
When we got invaded and our entire society was dismantled, one of the big pitches the British made to us was that they were bringing a superior model of governance, right, where everyone gets to have a say. And now they're saying that that's too hard. If we think that these values are important, if we really think that democracy is this important special thing, why are we throwing it out as soon as it gets slightly difficult to administer? There's been no case made for why this needs to be done, when there are very obvious partisan effects that are going to come about as a consequence of these rules. I think we should be thinking about like who benefits from doing this, not ordinary people.
Yeah, I love that idea, especially coming from Maori. You know, you guys promised us this fantastic system, this Westminster system that's going to help everyone and be good. Oh, it's getting a bit hard now, so we're going to change it. We're going to change it to a whole bunch of the people who we were promised this system will be disenfranchised by it. It's a very lovely point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's play this last clip. The last clip is talking about the being dropped off the Maori roll. So we had Tania on last week, and Te Pāti Māori have taken a case to court saying that people have been dropped off the Maori roll, and including Keisha Castle-Hughes, who's publicised this through her socials. And of course, the problem now is if people have dropped off that roll for whatever reason, nefarious or not, or clerical error, the close-off date has passed to get put on the Māori roll. So some are now finding out that they can't get back on to the Māori roll. And look, let's just not play the conspiracy card. Even for a technical glitch, they can't now do it. Tania has been spearheading this. She has been receiving messages, and she says from thousands of people. I got a message today from one Pakeha saying, I am also been knocked off, but it seems other than that, it primarily, if not only, is impacting Māori. And I know in this current climate we're in, that's going to cause some people to get heckles up based on this government. But whether it's nefarious, which feels less likely, or a glitch, I think people need to have the availability to be made whole again. if they want to be on the Māori roll, they should be able to get put back on. And yet, you know, you might just have to change. You might have to change your rules to fix up the glitch from within the government somewhere. Anyway, that was a fucking long introduction. Let's play the clip.
If Māori voters are being deregistered at random without their knowledge, how can he be sure that his electoral reforms will not disenfranchise whānau who have followed all the correct procedures?
Because anyone, Māori or non-Māori, just needs to be registered on the roll 13 days before the election. There's plenty of time for that to happen.
Is that not a valid point, Tania? There's plenty of time.
Well, the information that we've been getting back from the thousands and thousands of people that have been contacting us is that this is a real thing. This is not just people, you know, making it up or drop kicks that have failed to update their details. I'm talking about kuia in their 60s and 70s that have voted for 50 plus years, never moved, all of a sudden finding themselves removed from the Māori roll. And for me, anyway, it is the height of disrespect to our kaumātua and kuia who find themselves in this situation to say, you're just wrong. And they've got proof of being taken off the roll and not being able to get back on in time for the local body elections or in time for the tamaki elections. So the fact that this is happening now and that it seems to be so widespread, we're going to find out when this court case moves further along. But it just highlights that taking away that fail-safe, that ability for people to...
Because that's a big part of it, right? So... Like, let's not even if one wasn't worried about this one issue, for whatever glitches happen to whatever voter in the future, as you say, Clint, they roll up to the election booth and for some reason they're not on, then they're going to miss out on voting. So it's this is the whole point, that if there's been a mistake or if, you know, someone's made a mistake or something's been they've delivered it back and it's got lost in the post or whatever, those people through no fault of their own will now not be able to vote because they won't be able to register there and then, which they currently can do. So I think that's one of the points Tania's making.
Roll on the day and to update their details on the day is going to have a massive effect, and they don't even know now how many problems there are in the system. They can't guarantee now that this system is 100% functioning. So by the time we get to the next election, when that 13-day cutoff happens, we are going to see so many different problems and the issues around, okay, how many people is it going to affect? How many people are actually going to lose their right to vote? We are going to be an experiment. Next election, we're going to be the experiment, and it's going to be Māori, Pacifica, people that are at the lowest end of being able to do anything about it that are most affected, and they know that. That's the cynical part about this. They know that those who are most vulnerable are going to be most affected and most likely to be disenfranchised, which is why I'm saying this, because they don't have a voice, so we have to be their voice.
There you go. There you go, Clint. I shared my views kind of before and during that. What are your thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, it would be really hard to look at these reports of Māori being dropped off the roll for seemingly no reason and not be suspicious. I mean, I hope that there is nothing nefarious going on here, and I hope that the court case gets to the heart of it, because it doesn't look good. And if there are technical glitches, then that too invalidates, for exactly the reason you're saying, it invalidates going to cut off enrollment early if the Electoral Commission is just making a hash of it, because people will be disenfranchised. So this court case is going to be crucial. The information they get out in the discovery phase, when presumably they'll find out how many voters have been kicked off the roll and for what reasons over recent times, that will be extremely enlightening, and maybe will come and if it does show that the Electoral Commission has been incompetent in its administration of the roll, or can't be trusted to ensure that the roll is accurate come the close off of registration, maybe then these reforms will have to be dropped, if there's any right thinking left in this government. Hopefully there will be, because it's really, really concerning.
I mean, not to kind of belabor the point or say the same thing again, but there's going to be errors. Like, there's no perfect system, And if you can't register on the day, that means those errors turn into non-votes.
Yeah.
It goes without saying. And I'll go so far as to say, person who's a bit over it all and a bit lazy, and they're like, oh, screw the election, I'm not going to go vote in that. And then 2 weeks or a week before the election, he goes, actually, you know what? I think I might. Yeah, he does get the right to vote.
Yeah.
Right. Even if he's a drop kick 2 weeks, 3 weeks out, but then he changes his mind a week out, then he gets to participate in democracy. You don't get to say no. And that's sort of what it comes down to.
There was in 2017, before the election night party, Jacinda got nervous that we were going to be wearing these branded t-shirts that didn't have authorization statements on them, so I had to go and buy a new t-shirt. So I was in Farmers, and I got a Laser Kiwi t-shirt, and the guy was like, "Oh, so what do you do, mate?" "Oh, I work for the Labour Party." "Oh, is it election day today, is it?" I'm like, Yeah. He goes, "Oh, not," and he's just a young guy. I think he just turned 18. He goes, "Not sure if I'm enrolled. Can I still vote?" And I said, "Look," because this was before the change, I said, "Go down there and cast a special vote anyway, even if your name's not on the roll, because maybe you are on the roll, maybe you're enrolled in a different electorate. Get down there, give it a go." And that guy wasn't a dropkick.
Yeah.
He had as much right to the vote as I did, and just because he didn't understand the state's bureaucracy as well as I did not mean that he should have been disenfranchised.
Yeah.
And as we were saying before, if he did go down and cast a special vote, not knowing if he was enrolled or not, because he wasn't able to update his details on election day at that point, then he would have created more administrative burden for the government post-election and delayed the count. So, this is not about fixing the real problem in terms of the speed of election results. This is about screwing the scrum.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty clear. And so it's fascinating to watch Bishop in the last piece kind of, oh, no, it's about efficiency. It's about efficiency. It's like, well, okay, why don't we have that conversation? Why don't we have the conversation about how do we make these elections more efficient? Because the solution you're giving is not it. You're saving between 3 and 5 days, right? That's not efficient. And maybe we should also say political parties only have a few days to form a coalition. Maybe that would be another way to find efficiency, not sit there. Well, maybe we should say that there's no Winston going fishing to speed it along and that kind. Maybe we should ban Winston Peters from going fishing, to speed the election result along. So it's like, this is the answer to a question that no one's asking. This is the answer to a problem that doesn't exist. But what it is doing, and again, credit to Chewie. I've got my stickers. These are my stickers here. Credit to Chewie.
You miss your mate.
Yeah, miss my mate. He says it all the time. He says the problem they're trying to solve is to become government, and that's what this is a problem. This is the question that it's solving. How do we get to be government again? Oh, we can knock out. I mean, there won't be 100. If this comes in, there won't be 150,000, but there might be 20. There might be 50. 50,000 is quite a lot,
Yep.
So there'll be some. There might be one, and one's not okay. I don't want to be all like dramatic and stuff and pull on the heartstrings. But it's like, people have literally fought and died for these rights. And Mr. fucking 8% doesn't get to stomp on, 100 years of practice because you want an election result 4 days sooner.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it goes. Sorry, sunshine.